So now it's with us in person. You can see him. Yes. Luka Frelih from Ljudmila Association. He will present you the work of this association and their webpage. Luka, please.
Okay. Hello. Welcome. Thank you for inviting me to this discussion. So yeah, my name is Luka, and of course, yeah, they told me that I could do this as this privilege. So yeah, I hope you can understand me better. Yeah, Ljudmila, Ljudmila Association, officially now called Ljudmila Art and Science Laboratory, is a space where art and technology have been meeting, mixing, and collaborating since the mid-90s. In 1994, through some funds from Open Society Institute or Soros Foundation, we started to work on a space where artists can meet and learn and work with technology and with technologists together. A bit more than 10 years ago, finally, Ljudmila, this was in the start called Ljubljana Digital Media Lab, which is acronym Ljudmila. And in about 10 years ago, we finally established our own organization structure, an association called Ljudmila Art and Science Laboratory, where we are working until now, and hopefully still for a while at least. There are, I've had a bit to think, how do we really fit in a library context? And but I was very happy anyway to hear that you wanted to visit our space, which is not too far away in the center of Ljubljana. Unfortunately, because of COVID, this was not possible. So I will try to present the best I can, and hopefully you can ask some questions later, maybe if I didn't talk enough about some specific thing or other. Our main activities are developing technology, art and science collaborations. Basically, we are funded from the state and the city through some art funding, which so there's also some European projects. So we're combining all these funds to create a kind of broad program of art, which is dealing with technology, new media, sometimes this is called, and the connection between technology, society, and art. Besides the art program, maybe especially for you would be interesting that I don't forget about two culture information portals, Culture C and Kulturnik C, which we have in the last 10 years been developing for the Ministry of Culture. Basically, Culture C is a kind of encyclopedia of Slovenian art and culture organizations. So more or less every organization dealing with culture in Slovenia has a page on this website. Maybe we can search for MKL, Ljubljana City Library. So there is some quick summary, basic contacts, people you want to contact, where. Oh, I don't know, maybe it's not mine even. And some an article which focuses mostly on international cooperation. This website is meant for people out abroad to get in contact and find out what our organizations are doing and how to get how to establish collaborations. So, okay, this is Culture C, and maybe one interesting thing is our image library, where we are quite we were doing quite a lot of work to get very nice photos of different cultural places and people and events, and making well cataloged, equipped with metadata collection of visual materials, which are for the most part, like all the text, permissively licensed with Creative Commons licenses. So this collection, I'm quite proud to say, is also through our national aggregator, NUC, National University Library, is aggregated in the European Library, digital library. So this is something where look, this is the place where Ljudmila is currently, is a space we call Osmosa, and it's on 8th floor of this office tower. So for us, it's a bit new context, but I think it works very well. So the other one was Kulturnik, which is in Slovenian, and it's quite a different concept, although it's like Culture C, is a national cultural information portal which encompasses all the different areas. So this is based as an aggregator, because we think we as Ljudmila cannot really create meaningful new content about all that is happening in culture in Slovenian language. That's why we aggregate automatically from websites and blogs and video accounts and event announcements of everybody, all the organizations who already are working in Slovenia. So this is quite a complex program site where the editor is just entering feeds which are supplying new and new content. And one feature also is that we can search here already established collections from different museums and libraries. So I must say that the collection of National University Library is one of the most comprehensively digitized collections. So any kind of old newspapers and things like that, old pictures you can find also through Kulturnik, not have to know for each of these things, these collections yourself. So unfortunately, we have been this year we stopped doing that because Ministry of Culture chose another organization to take over. Well, I'm not going to go too much in detail what I think of this, but I wish them all the best and hope for the future with these websites. So maybe rather than tell you about all the different artists and their projects, which maybe, I don't know, could go on for a long time. I would try to highlight one type of method or one type of approach where we are working to bring communities or creative communities together and get them to learn together about certain topics. So this is one approach we call PIF Lab specifically. PIFlers are in Slovenian kind of nerds. The two people who are too much want to work in school are like teachers' pets sometimes, but nerds also. So we are connecting these nerds together in different topical groups for them to be able to discover certain themes and techniques together. So, for instance, we have na Zoomu da delim zaslon. Ja, oprostite, imamo Zoom tlele, bom jaz po mojem, da bom znal. Just a second, they just notify me to share the screen. Okay, maybe this Google Chrome, share. Is this better? Okay, now you can see the other screen.
Lina, is it okay?
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so yes, I'm sorry I forgot to do this. So basically, these labs for nerds, what we call them, we have so far had a few. At the moment, the active ones are synthesizer builders meetups, V2V, which is video to video, kind of VJ audiovisual performance meetups, and Kodov Živetja, which is Slovenian made-up word talking about code being live and experience, and this is a group where we are looking at live coding, specific performance practice involving programming on stage and doing music or visuals. So these kind of groups are that have a regular meetings where we are not super focused on the usually not super focused on the product, on the outcome, but more on sharing experiences and sharing knowledge and different interesting things between a small group. This is has turned out to be quite productive to engage especially young people who might not be so well established yet, who might not have their own established practice or their own space where they could work or collaborate, and we basically give the space. We give some basic equipment. Today there is not really that much equipment which people don't have, because most of the things you can do on every laptop. But maybe this was in the past a little bit more important. And so through these communities then become possible a kind of new collaborations, and people get new ideas, also learning something and getting in contact with other people to make possible collaboration in the future. Also in this spirit, but a little bit bigger or more international, is called PIF Camp. So PIF Lab is the thing where, okay, how do I, the keyboard. Okay. It is a summer camp every year was already 7 times. Okay. That is not cooperating very well. Where all these kind of things on different topics are happening in a group of maybe 60 people. We meet in Socha Valley, this really nice alpine valley with a very cold river in the summer, and it's kind of half. We try, half international guests, half Slovenians, half women, half men. We try, not always succeed exactly, but basically to bring community together of creative people without giving them a specific deadline goal or specific you must do this. Basically, you can do more or less anything as long as you share, document, and invite other people to see what you are doing. And again, this is for a community very important, that we can meet new people, not just from Slovenia, and then we come in contact with them, and maybe in the future we collaborate. Because I think I don't have super much time anymore, maybe I would like to ask for some questions or comments from the audience. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to ask some questions. Digital literacy is a kind of issue in the Netherlands. My work is working on digital. What does the Ljudmila organization do to help society engage, especially continuously developing this technical world? Please just repeat the question.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so the question was about digital literacy. Digital literacy is a problem, and how do we deal with it? What do we do to help the society deal with it, especially in the way that technology and society's use of technology is developing so fast? More or less, this was the question. Yeah. Well, of course, we are not a super mainstream organization which would directly address or deal with a lot of the population. Our focus, yes, is on artists, creative people, especially when on the start of their path, when they are kind of figuring out what they're doing. But the topic of digital literacy, of course, is for us very important because even for our audience, it is becomes some things can become quite unreadable or not understandable if they don't know anything about technology. So there are a few things that we really try to promote and stick with also in our work. One is demystification. Basically, even art tends to be trying to make an effect and makes things a bit too mystical. So what we are trying to have artists and projects that we do is make the technology visible, transparent, and kind of comprehensible, and so that also the audience can understand what is going on, what is the role of technology here, and then they can maybe start to think, oh, what to think about it and how does it feel, this technology. So this is one very fundamental, and the second, I would say, kind of connected to this is open source. So basically, we have been working with open source software since the start, when we made our own first web servers and internet access and email servers in the 90s, and always had some programmers in the organization, which were for us, it's quite easy choice, to choose Linux, to choose open source, because just opens up a huge new creative possibility. But we were also active in the Creative Commons movement in Slovenia, establishing this. And here is maybe a bit where it touches more the wider creative sphere. So copyright, how to think about copyright in the age of technology that we have with infinite free reproduction. How can copyright still be used to promote creativity and not stifle, not break it, not crush creativity? So that's why we promote sharing things under the hood, looking under the hood of technology, even when it's used in an art sphere, where many times if there is a tendency to present the facade and hide everything which is behind. We try not to do that. And hopefully it makes some kind of difference also one day. Yes?
Are we people involved in public library? Don't work.
Well, the question was, do we show our work in public libraries also? Or do the people who are interested in have to come to us? Yes, not so much as maybe would be possible. But there is, I think, still a thing that maybe most of our presentations are a bit niche. So I don't know how well this would work. Also, maybe we, since moving to this new space in the last 3-4 years, we've become a bit maybe, well, lazy. It's become very easy for us to do events in our space because it's, well, one big floor where we are 3 organizations and sharing the public space. So not so much dealing we are not so much collaborating specifically with public libraries. No, no.
It's quite curious, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Far away, there's so much to say about big topics like the yeah, well, I'm hoping that artists are numerous
Yeah.
especially when you talk about the demystification process. I think many people in society don't have any grip on the impact that big tech is having on them, while art can open doors and create awareness, especially for the things that are,
Yeah, no, you're right. The comment was that, yeah, that it's maybe somebody's dream to work or to bring also art in the library, where it can open up new ways of thinking and new attitudes toward all the stuff that we are connected to all the time. Yeah, I agree. It's yeah, I don't know what would be the best way to bring this to, but I must say, I think that it is perhaps in a way, Ljudmila is trying to be in a way a kind of public library. We're not a public institution, but we have a very public policy, open door policy. And some of the events that we do, I think, are in the same vein, or like some certain events that are going on in libraries. So maybe we should do more work on this. Well, one, we are definitely collaborating in other ways with libraries. Like I said, we are collaborating with Nook on their digitalization things, and it's a banal thing, but maybe not so banal for an organization like Ljudmila. Our internet connection from this tower you saw, we have quite a good view of the roof of City Library of Ljubljana. So the way we are connected to the internet is through a short Wi-Fi link to the roof of City Library of Ljubljana, where ARNES, the Academic and Research Network of Slovenia, which is providing our connectivity, has a fiber optic line. So yeah, we are not against collaboration, but maybe we haven't found yet a good way to bring suitable topics that would be interesting for this audience.
But from your own perspective, your work on suitable topics, is there anything going on right now in the tech world which worries you, and where you are thinking of that everybody in society should know how to handle these things?
I think a harder question was, is there something which worries me as development in the technology world that would be interesting for a wider society? Yeah, answer would be like, to start us with little half joke, only half. It would be harder to answer, is there something which doesn't worry me? Unfortunately, well, let's say, in the 90s, when internet became a mass thing, a general phenomenon, even artists who were trying not to be naive and were not so rose glasses like maybe some Californian tech people already, but we thought that it's a very powerful tool for the good, for bringing people together, for sharing knowledge, for bringing peace to the world, this world wish. Now we are in a very different place. It's like this cyberpunk dystopia, more or less, and everybody who is trying to convince people something is very, very good and will be great and super, like the these last weeks, metaverse, you know, be very suspicious, because usually it is not like this. We have seen the open web, a very democratic and horizontal protocol, being hijacked more or less by big capital, and everybody from the very wide public society, like probably more than half of world's population, is more or less using the internet through some we call walled gardens. So these big platforms like Facebook, like Twitter, which has its own problems because it's perceived as a public space, even in the media, and it is not. There is a corporation behind it which has total power to regulate it, but not just our government, but our government specifically is using it in ways like it is, you know, the most important medium. So you don't have to watch public television to find out what is going on in our country, but you have to watch Twitter. It's weird. Also in art, maybe it's a specific worry. I see there is a trend called NFT. It is a combination of selling art and cryptocurrency, blockchain, bitcoins. So it is very weird because there is now art being sold in this weird technology, non-transparent, half anonymous way, for sometimes millions of dollars, and sold as promoted as a kind of, oh, here is a way to support a digital artist, which could not before sell things. And it's just like total, what are you talking about? If somebody wants to support an artist, support the creative work, there are many ways to do it, and does not have to be in any way connected to bitcoins or blockchains or and not even talking about how much electricity, for instance, each transaction this is. So there is using art as an excuse to create some kind of speculative tokens, which you buy not because you want the art, you like the art, or you want to support the artist, but because you think that you can sell it on for more money. And so, yeah, there is so many things wrong with technology today that I really don't know where to stop with this question. I'm sorry. Okay. If that's it, I would thank you again, and hopefully, yeah, we can meet somehow or stay in touch if you are interested in collaborating. And thanks for the invitation.